Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Parkside Cabin Rentals. Winter weather in the city can be a pain. Traffic slows down, schedules get messed up. But winter weather in your own Smoky Mountain cabin? Well, that's beautiful and relaxing. Funny how that works. So book your winter stay in the Smokies this week by visiting ParksideCabinRentals.com and picking out the perfect cabin for you and whoever you want to take up there. You can have a cabin for 2, you can have a cabin for 20, and I'm not exaggerating. They've got them all at ParksideCabinRentals.com. Pick yours for the winter this week. All right, back with Mark Pancratz. We are over at our side table here. And by the way, get in your votes now. It's dominating in one way. It's 85% say they'd rather be 4-3 with a hard schedule. I just wonder, gun to their head, if truth serum, is that really the answer? But back with Mark Pancratz, and we're at the side of the side table, and I was going to ask you, what are your 4 biggest concerns moving forward for Tennessee? And I'll just let you step through these one at a time. Well,
post play is the first one, and it's not because the quality of opponents that we just played. The reality is we don't have depth there. And Barnes' MO has always been get the ball inside first and then work yourself out. And Adu that just doesn't seem to be that guy. Tobe's a little bit undersized. I thought he would have developed a little bit more. But post play is the first one for me. And then moving on, wear and tear. It's not even the fact that we got guys banged up. The thing for me is Barnes' track record. We've seen guys late in season where the team is as worn down. Maybe there's been an injury like Kyle Alexander a few years back, but it seems we just wear down a little bit at the end. So that's always going to be an unknown for me until we get over that hump. Easy points. I think we talked about it a little bit in the one of the opening segments. Transition baskets, points off turnovers. I mean, teams the last 3 games, those big games, they're outscoring us by 20 points off turnovers, and we do a pretty good job of taking care of the basketball. And you would think a team that prides themselves on defense would get steals and go out and fast break and get points off turnovers, and we really don't. And so we got to find more ways to get easy baskets, easy points, which we've not done so far.
Let me stop you right there just for a second. Why the aversion to fast break points? Why? Rick Barnes is not a guy who lives by the fast break. In fact, it looks like when they have a chance to go on a fast break, they'd rather slow it down and take their time. Is that a mentality thing that if you start running up and down the court, it's going to get to your defense? What is his thinking there?
I don't know. For me, and especially if you look at, we were talking in the break, post players last year were averaging about 67 points or 67 minutes per game. You think of Euros, Olivier, Adu. This year it's only about 35. So we're playing what you would say would be 4 guards with Triple J at the 4. So you would think we would have more firepower to play in transition, which we're just not doing. I don't know that answer. But I do think we need to incorporate that into our offensive arsenal to score more points.
All right, last one.
And then Ziegler and Vescovy not shooting the ball well. They got to step up. We talked about Barnes was excited about the firepower that we added, and obviously with Knecht and Gainey, we're getting more than we thought from those guys. But we need Ziegler, we need Vescovy to show up, and not just show up on the stat sheet, but really show up in a way of being leaders and saying, hey, it's okay if it ends up being Knecht's team. They got to be okay with Knecht being potentially, and we're 7 games into the year, but everything is shown that this Knecht is the guy. He is the dude. And they need to be okay with that, which is really hard when they're going into the season thinking all right, these were going to be the 2 main guys.
Yeah, one, it's amazing that so many of these transfers go in someplace and they don't live up to the hype. It's amazing that a guy has lived up to the hype and then some. I still can't believe he was at Northern Colorado. But the thing with Knecht is this is the first guy that you've really had here who, under Barnes, who will pick up a team and carry it on his back if you need him to. We were just talking again in the break. You go back, Grant Williams, Admiral Schofield, they were great, but they needed somebody to give him the ball, whereas Knecht, give him the ball and get out of his way.
Yeah, and he can do it at all 3 levels. I mean, he's doing it from 3, he can get all the way to the rim, and he's aggressive. The thing about it is he's got – the hard part about it with culture, again, is if that type of offensive firepower, he still has to be held to Barnes' defensive responsibilities. And if Barnes allows him to get away with some stuff on defense because of his offensive ability, but then holds these other guys accountable different, again, that's why those head coaches get paid those big bucks.
One last one on that, just be very quick. Justin Gainey, you mentioned him, coach's kid.
Yeah.
Sometimes that can cause friction. You've been around a Tennessee team that had a coach's kit on it. Sometimes that can cause friction. Is this guy getting taken care of because daddy's on the staff? Are they letting him play more than he should? Is he, are they letting him get away with things that I couldn't get away with? Is that a concern at all moving forward?
Look, I've seen it, with Coach Pearl and his son. I think there was talk about with Serrano, the baseball coach, and his son was on the team. There was always, but I don't think that'll be an issue because, one, Gainey's played really well. And two, I think the culture of a guy like a Meshack, those type of players that are in this system, I think they're solid. I think they do a good job with it. But it is definitely something you always got to keep your eye on.
Mark Pancratz, thank you very much. You'll be back with us throughout basketball season, including next week when VFL Isaiah Victor will be back with us as well. Let me go ahead and pop up the results. There we go. There's the poll. 86% of you, 86% say you'd rather play the hard schedule and go 4-3 than play the easy schedule and go 7-0. I love that answer. I just don't believe it. All right, when we come back, we're going to have, and by the way, we'll be talking about Tennessee, Illinois next week because they play them on Saturday. They play George Mason midweek. Coming up next, Kevin Simon joins us. We're going to be talking about Tennessee's talent on the football roster in every aspect. Come on back on the Sports Source.